Hello, welcome back to Book Nerd TV. I am finally getting to the octafinals discussion that I probably should have had in and around the time the octafinals ended, but I didn't. So there's that. Don't judge me, whatever. All right, but the good thing about this year for 2022 is that I have been reading. My habit of reading has really picked up, so I'm really happy about that. So, yay me. But anyway, so the octafinals, nonfiction. I always do nonfiction, or only do nonfiction. Only always do nonfiction with the BookTube Prize. So this is my third year participating. Last year I couldn't complete it because I had a family illness situation that I had to take care of. But anyway, we're here, 2022. We are participating. We're excited. For the BookTube Prize Octafinals, I was assigned to Group A, and I had to read The Enlightenment by Richie Roberts, Diary of a Young Naturalist by Dara McAnulty, Crying in the H Mart by Michelle Zauner, On Animals by Susan Orlean, Fuzz by Mary Roach, Plague Year by Lawrence Wright. So those were the 6 books that I had to read for Group A, nonfiction, and my ranking of them lowest to highest starts with number 6, and number 6 is On Animals by Susan Orlean. I did not connect with this book in any way, shape, or fashion. I'm glad it was an audiobook because I could get through it. Like, you know, when you can listen and you can do other things while you're listening to it. Thankfully, I had some other things to do. I don't understand. I didn't get it. That's all I gotta say about that. Number 5, Diary of a Young Naturalist, was literally set up like a diary that Dara kept over a year, and I did not enjoy it. I'm not saying that it was poorly written or a bad book. I'm not saying any of that. I just didn't enjoy it. It didn't interest me really. It didn't grab me. It did not resonate with me. So that is why it's number 5. Number 4 is The Enlightenment. Look, when you write a 1,000-page book about the Enlightenment, I'm gonna need you to try to make the narrative less boring. Okay, for me, the Enlightenment period, very interesting. You know, supposedly the United States was an Enlightenment country. I laugh. I just felt like maybe the book could have been shorter, but even if it couldn't have been shorter, because Robertson cites the heck out of this book, and he quotes from some of the philosophers that he is writing about extensively. I enjoyed getting the information and discovering maybe some of the Enlightenment philosophers that I hadn't heard of before. But I feel like this is going to be one of those books that gets used, that gets referenced for people who are in college and they're studying philosophy, or their major is philosophy. And when they hit the Enlightenment period, this will be one of the books that is recommended by one of the professors. Number 3 is actually the last book I read, which is Crying in the H Mart by Michelle Zauner. This is a book about difficult relationships between mother and daughter, but also dealing with grief. And so, trigger warning or content warning, if you are sensitive around grief and dying, be aware that this is what the book is about. I had no idea what the book was about, so I went in totally blind. And it's at number 3, I think, and not number 4, not because the writing is particularly amazing, because I don't really feel that it is. The Diary of a Young Naturalist is technically a better written book to me, but the sort of emotional strings that are pulled here, there's an emotional impact here that, for me, elevated this book above the Enlightenment. The emotional impact of Crying in the H Mart is universal because we all have parents and we all deal with grief. I think that is why I ranked it at a 3. And I'm not regretting that. I think it's a book that is approachable to a lot of people. I don't know that it will resolve anything for you or fix anything for you. I don't think that's the purpose of the book. The purpose of the book, at least what I got from it, was this one person's examination of her relationship with her mother and then sort of her dealing with the grief of losing her mother. Spoiler alert? I don't know. Anyway, so there you have it. Number 2 is Fuzz by Mary Roach. I have said it before on this channel. I am a fan of Mary Roach's writing, or most of her writing. And Fuzz, for me, is probably of the five books that I've read by Mary Roach, this may be number 4. Above Packing for Mars, possibly. Her wit is present. To me, she's one of these people who is a very good writer. And so she makes the topics that she is talking about interesting. I will say, toward the end of the book, maybe the India part went a little long. And maybe another later chapter in the book that I'm blanking on right now because I'm filming it and why would I remember it? But other than that, I mean, it could have been slimmed down or cut down a little bit, but or not, because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the book. I enjoy her writing. I enjoy her humor, and not everyone does. She's sort of a pop science writer, and so people may ding her for that, but I feel like she makes science and whatever topic that she talks about very approachable, and so that's why it is sitting at number 2. Number 1 for me, big surprise, because I would not have thought it. Plague Year by Lawrence Wright. I'm surprised. I'm flabbergasted. I did not expect to enjoy this book as much as I did. But it is really a, not day by day, but maybe month by month account of the early days of the pandemic, and gives you a very top-down view, I think, of some governmental actions, the actions of some doctors and some researchers, and sort of knits them together so that it kind of tells you gives you a coherent timeline of what was happening in the United States. It does sort of take a glance over at China a couple of times. Of course, I found it very interesting and very timely. Now, does it have a sort of a long view or perspective? No, it does not, because this is very much happening in situ, right? It's right now, and so it's giving you the information and maybe the more limited perspective of what's happening right now, because it's happening right now. The book does highlight some of the doctors and some of the researchers who were involved in creating the vaccines, who were doing the research about the virus. It was just, now that, and Lawrence Wright is another good writer. I don't know if I'm going to read The Looming Tower that he also wrote, but I may, and if so, I might get it from the library. I am surprised by how much I enjoyed the book. And I think if you want to read something that's sort of about the pandemic, then you can read this book and get a slightly wider perspective. But again, it's not going to give you a long view or I won't say a perfect perspective from looking back in history, because we're not there yet. We're still in the moment of things, right? So I don't think that you're going to find any major sort of thoughts or judgments. You're not going to find any major thoughts or judgments about the actions that were taken by the government or by state versus federal versus, whatever. So you're not going to find that there, but you are going to have this initial timeline of the first year-ish or so of the pandemic. Yeah, I enjoyed it. And I may read some other books by him. So he is an author that I have discovered, right, through the BookTube Prize, which is what I think is one of the great bonuses of this entire endeavor, is that you get to run across authors that you may not have even thought to look at, or maybe thought, well, I wouldn't be very interested in that person or this subject. You just never know. You just never know. But if you really want a challenge, I suggest that you get the book, The Enlightenment. You're probably going to have to get the hardcover. I don't know that there'll be a softcover spine that can handle all of these pages. You should get that book, and we can buddy read it together. I'm joking, kind of. Joking, a little. I am participating in the quarterfinals now, and so I've got 6 more books that I'm reading. I think I only have 2 left at this point. Yay me. So I'll finish those, and no, I didn't vlog those either. So I'm just not going to vlog this at all this year. It's just not happening. It's not happening. And there are reasons, right? There's construction happening, right? So this is kind of part of my bookshelves in the office, or what will be the office. Constructed and up, not painted yet, but you know, painted. It's a whole other ordeal. I'm just not even going there right now. So there are reasons why I haven't put anything out recently. There are reasons why I'm not vlogging, because, you know, the house is, you know, in a bit of a disarray because of construction and other things that are happening. So yeah, I guess it's also a bit of a check-in. So there you go. So be good, be well, and I will see you in the next video.